Well, hello, and I'd like to welcome you to a great event of introducing and sharing the memories and wonderful production of the 2011 Glyndebourne production of Die Meistersinger von Núrnberg. I'm Gerald Finley, and I played Hans Sachs, the poet cobbler. We're doing this as a way to reminisce and look forward, I think, to the next opportunities to get back on stage and take part in productions such as these. I have a great cast lined up for you. It is just a great joy that everybody has been able to make themselves available. And the video of Die Meistersinger von Núrnberg, Glyndebourne's 2011 production, will be in fact broadcast on the 30th of August to finish Glyndebourne's open house series. Firstly, I'm going to introduce one of my partners in crime during that particular production, the assistant director, Ian Rutherford. Hi, Ian, how are you?
I'm very good indeed, very good indeed. Welcome to Sussex.
Isn't it wonderful that we can do this all together, but in the comfort of our own spaces? That's really
It is a very special thing.
Ian, you were the assistant director in this production of Die Meistersinger. I mean, is there any specific overall impression that you had from the production that you recall?
Well, I just remember that absolutely every department of Glyndebourne was stretched to its limit, including building a new car park. They had to build a new car park to actually accommodate the people that were coming to this great event, and it was just a remarkable excitement that was throughout the whole building.
Were some rehearsals held outdoors?
We did the fight. Many rehearsals for the fight were out on the lawn, because it was just it was nice and cool and open and spacious.
Ian, you and I had a wonderful sort of, tete-a-tete regarding, the specifics of Hans Sachs's character, but I also had to make choose.
We certainly did. We went to this fantastically eccentric cobbler in Lewis, and Paul in the props arranged it all, and we went along, and I was frantically scribbling away because of all the particular words and particular techniques. Do you remember the moment when he said, "You've always got to tap tap"?
That's it. Yeah, the first little tap and then the home one. Absolutely. That was the mark of confidence, and a misstruck one would injure fingers and destroy the shoe itself.
Yeah,
but I must say my fingers did feel occasionally in misstrikes, but never mind.
Yeah,
I got the shoes made, which was a great.
Then you stood on the top and clapped them with great vigor in the fight. Yeah,
absolutely right. But I'm going to go for the girls. Shall we?
Yeah.
We have Michaela Selinger. There we are.
Hey.
And Anna Gabler, my Eva. Hello, Michaela.
Hi, Terry. Hi, everybody.
Lovely to see you. How lovely you could do that and be with us. Can I ask you where you are at the moment, Michaela?
I'm staying with a friend in Vienna. Yeah.
And are you involved in any projects at the moment, or are you having a nice rest as we all are?
I was already involved in some production in Croatia because they could play.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, and now I go to Carinthia also to perform. So fine now. Yeah.
That's wonderful. Well, it's great to hear that you're involved in something. I think we're all grateful to hear that other colleagues are at work. And I say hello to Anna. Anna, where are you at the moment?
I'm in Vienna at the moment, rehearsing Flying Dutchman for a festival at the Czech border, really, on the Czech side, because of Corona. They actually tried to build something for people now being without work, and the regulations in the Czechia seem to be less strict. So we will do, hopefully, an open air production of Flying Dutchman.
It's lovely to have you join us. I'm going to move on to invite our next guest in. And he was central to certainly Michaela's life in the opera, and that was the Hans Sachs's apprentice David, who was played by the inimitable Topi Lehtipuu. And I hope he's going to join us in this. There's Topi. There we are. He's just going to join us.
Hello.
Sure. Hi, Topi.
Hello.
To see you.
Good to see you. Hello.
Welcome to this crazy reunion. It's wonderful to see you.
Wonderful to see you as well.
Topi, you've been, where do you find yourself now? And can you tell us where you've been in the last 2 weeks? Where have you been?
So I'm in Paris at the moment. I live in London nowadays, so I've been confined in London. However, traveling quite happily.
Now, Topi, I have one thing that I need to show you. And because I'm going to show you these.
Ah!
These were
Very good.
These were the gift of the Meisters to me on my first night as Hans Sachs. So they're a beautiful pair of crafted shoes, which I'd like to think you made yourself, Topi. But
I hope they have served well.
Now, Topi, you had a very feisty relationship with someone else in the cast, on stage, I have to say, not off stage, I hope. And I'm very, very happy to introduce our Sixtus Beckmesser, Martin Kränzle.
Martin!
Martin! Hello, grüß Gott! And
Hello!
How lovely to see you. How wonderful you could join us. And Martin, you can tell us exactly why this Zoom call happened today, because you're a very busy man.
I'm a very lucky man that that I can work in this moment. Yeah. I was 4 weeks or 5 weeks ago. No, 6 weeks ago. I got the call that they want to try the Salzburg Festival, and they want a new program. They did a new program, and they put in a Così fan tutte, and I was lucky to do now the Don Alfonso.
And are they being very scrupulous about testing you and
we get every 10 days we get tested all on stage, and the whole chorus and the whole orchestra.
Now, Martin, you've played Beckmesser since this production, and how many times have you performed that, do you think?
I did a series in New York, and then a new production in Bayreuth.
Martin, you have had quite a journey since our time together at Glyndebourne in 2011. Can I just say it's so wonderful to have you re-engage and be back singing and acting and performing as you.
Thank you. Yeah, it was not. I had not the 1 year. I never thought that I would come back. Yeah, because it was so close to death. Even the stem cell transplantation and the year after. Yeah, so yeah, I'm really thankful and how do you say? Demutsvoll, I don't know. It's a very German word.
Yes. Can I say it's a celebration that you're with us, and it's great that we can share this brief moment with you. I'm going to now.
That's a good idea that you brought us all together. Yes.
Well, I'm just happy. I have. Looks like I've got about 8 people that I have to let in from the waiting room.
Okay.
Most of them, most of the Meisters are here with us. Here we are. This is Henry Waddington, who played Fritz Kothner, and I think he took the responsibility to introduce people as well during the course of the opera. So
that's a challenge.
I'm not going to get him to introduce it. Henry. Yay. We're just going to get Henry. Have a look at good morning. I know Henry, your time is a little brief, but you know, stay with us as long as you can.
Yeah, will do.
And it's lovely to see you.
Thank you.
Are you at home?
Yeah.
At home at the moment. And where's
here
that?
since the 16th of March.
There's a lot of us that have seen these walls, our own walls, for a little while. You know, I think it's something that we're all, you know, we have great hope that the next few months will, you know, relieve the pressure a little bit. I know we still have a hard time ahead, but let's join our other folk. We've got Colin Judson, who I'm.
Oh, look out, world! Here he is.
Oh my goodness, he's awake. He's awake.
Wait.
Yay.
Hello, everybody.
Yay.
Hi.
Fritz Kothner.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
I'm gespannt. Look what I found.
I'm very happy to see you, Colin. Oh, you've got the Wachhof.
I have the Wachhof Meisterbrau.
Oh.
Yes, and here we have the wonderful Andrew Slater. Yay. Who is the and you,
Where's he there?
he's our Nachtigall, absolutely. You'll have a sense, just to have a look at everybody who's here, Andrew. And Andrew, you haven't got your stage child with you.
My what?
Your stage child.
Oh no, she's grown up. She's like 40 or something.
Yeah. Anyhow, it's lovely to see you, Andrew, and thank you for coming and joining us today. We've got Alasdair Elliott now coming on. Balthasar Zorn, and yay!
Woo.
There's Alasdair. Wonderful.
Go on, smile.
Oh, Alasdair, lovely to see you.
Good
Wonderful to see you.
morning.
Norman, oh my goodness, Dan's in a very large space.
Classic Dan Norman.
Aha!
He's in a theatre.
He's in a theatre. He's found a way.
How did you get in?
Built-in mask as well, though, hasn't he? Really?
The doors were open.
Okay.
Finish, you're like the voice of Neptune.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, you Meisters.
Ada.
Hello, love. Hi, dear.
Hi.
Where's your ear trumpet?
Ah.
Yeah.
Hello, love. Nice to
Oh,
see you.
wow.
Graham.
There you are. I think you're in now, Graeme.
I am in.
Yes.
Oh,
Aha.
there. Oh, he's dressed up, love.
Hi.
Oh,
Hey. Hello.
In honor of my esteemed colleagues, can I just say I felt it was absolutely vital I had to wear my rehearsal clothes. But in
Yes.
honor of Zoom tradition,
Very
I also followed that tradition. So it's
Oh.
not necessary. What's
Please.
happening on the top isn't what's happening on the bottom. I just thought I'd
COVID style.
Very good.
Best COVID.
Hey, there he is.
no, it's wonderful. Wonderful that you can be with us all. I'm going to admit now Vicki Mortimer, who designed the production. Vicki Mortimer.
Hi.
Lovely,
Hi, Vicki.
lovely to see
So
you.
nice.
Uh,
Just taking in who's all here. How brilliant. How nice to see everybody.
Vicki, I wanted to ask you, when you were putting this all together, what were your sort of technical parameters? I mean, did you have to sort of mark out, 2 meter squares, knowing how many people were going to be on the set at any one time? Did you have to have a sort of body measurement that you could?
I think one of the really funny things when I was thinking about meeting everybody again today is that I'd sort of forgotten this was the first show that I did with David. It was from 0 to 60. The sort of scale, sort of just plunging straight in with a director that I've never worked with before, doing a piece like this, and the blind optimism of that really takes me aback. No, I mean, it was a very different time then. You didn't think about it like that. We all just sort of thought we just want to make the best version of this piece of work for this opera house that we possibly can. Yeah. And I think, because Glyndebourne's such a kind of one-off location to make work, because I mean, as a designer, the production departments are just so extraordinary. You know that the craftsmanship is going to really pay back big time. So the idea of planning this show was just, just really exciting, because you knew you were going to be able to make these pictures really come to life. So no, planning wise, it was the numbers just kept multiplying every time I asked the casting department what was happening. They, oh, children, okay, yeah. Oh, extras, right? Jugglers, good. Yeah. So, well, it was just, to begin with, you look at all the Meistersingers, you think, well, that's a lovely group. Yeah, so it did just in the end become a town, didn't it? I mean, it was nuts, but so thrilling to see all those kind of a real sense of a community, like a total community. It was great.
Creating that number of costumes for people, I mean, was there any sense of being overwhelmed? Did you have to compromise in any way?
The Glyndebourne programming side of things really committed to wanting to put on the show wholeheartedly. So they had really put aside good resources for the show. But I mean, so one of the logistical things for any opera house is, where do you put everybody? Where are the dressing rooms that are going to accommodate that number of people? So the planning of it was, rolled back a very long time. So I think in terms of getting a piece like this to work really well in a festival, you have to start really thinking about it in quite a pragmatic way, 2 or 3 years before. So it was a slow burn. And I remember having so many meetings in my kitchen with costume makers, and bits of fabric. It just seemed to go on all my life. And then fittings, how do you fit all the fittings in? I've blanked that from my mind. I can't remember anything about that.
No, I know when we're all never the shape that we are when we had our measurements taken too.
Very unreliable, you lot.
It's lovely to have you join us, Vicki. I'm going to now admit the director.
Really?
And I'm so happy that he could join us. I mean, thank you all for cooperating with the scheduling demands of everybody. But anyway, here comes our illustrious stage leader. And that's mine. Oh. Yeah. Hi. There we all are. Hello.
Hello, David.
Oh, how wonderful you can join us. David, I wanted to ask you, mounting the biggest production that Glyndebourne has ever contemplated, did you jump at it? Did you have any thoughts of resistance to it?
Really? Seriously? I was second choice. They wanted a German director, a very good German director, but that all fell apart. So David Pickard called me and said, I'm a bit embarrassed about this, but would you consider taking on Meistersinger? And I did say, well, why didn't you ask me to begin with?
Yes.
And I went, yes, of course I'll do Meistersinger. What are you talking about? Of course. Who's in the cast? Tell me. And then they said it was you. And I went like, yeah, I'm in. I'm there, 100%. So, yeah, I was very happy to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. And I mean, one of the great features of the production is the movement element to it. And I mean, was that something that you had thought that it deserved. Obviously, the idea of getting so many people on stage and the coordination of just the bodies itself, but to add that kind of dance element to it. I mean, it's wonderful that we had Andrew, of course, to do that. But was that a no-brainer for you?
It was part of the process of a strategy of approaching a very difficult piece, which is laden with a lot of ideological baggage, and wanting to approach it from a very humanistic viewpoint. I wanted it to be at its core a human celebration version of Meistersinger. I didn't want it to be overtly political. And so the movement was a big part of that, of establishing the community of Nuremberg, and just getting some genuine joy and life into the piece, just responding to the music in a way, instead of overtly loading it with a political interpretation, which is totally valid if that's what you want to do. But I just didn't think that was the appropriate treatment for this particular theatre, this particular cast, this particular moment in time. So all that, and I just wanted the meadow scene to be incredibly joyous, really joyous. You know, I wanted, before we get into a lot of very heavy stuff towards the end of the opera, I wanted the dancing to be truly joyous and communal, and an expression of community, of the lifeblood of the community.
I think, of course, the story itself resonates now in terms of people just trying to get things on. And one of my feelings about the piece itself is that you have this outsider, Walter, coming in and trying to upset things, and the Meister's sort of, you know, saying the tradition should be this way, and how can we choose our winner? But of course, I mean, what we're doing right now, this very event that we're sharing right now, seems to be a new community of artists getting together, of talking about where we are going forward. And do is this a temporary situation, or do you think we're ever going to go back? Do you think our video skills are going to need to be part of our singing skills? That's not just to David. That could be to anybody.
Anybody? Somebody?
I don't hope so.
Nobody knows the answer to that question. We don't know the answer.
Yeah.
We can't do what we do on video. We can't. We can't do what we do with social distancing. We can't. The audience can't come and see us with social distancing. The only solution for our dilemma is either to find a way to live with this, or the discovery of some kind of vaccine. But there is no way that we can all just sit back and let live performance be annihilated. You know, if we don't have a vaccine, we have to find a way to get live performance happening. You can get people up in airplanes. Hello. You can cram people into the death tube, and no one's particularly bothered about that. There is a way, even without the discovery of a vaccine. You know, and we need real political heft behind us to help us discover what the way is.
Yeah.
If we don't have live performance, we're so impoverished. If we don't have the live expression of art, we're impoverished, which is actually one of the big themes of Meistersinger too. So it's appropriate we're talking about this.
Yeah, yeah. Martin, you are performing to live audiences at the moment, and how is that feeling?
They are so thankful. It's in the Große Festspielhaus now. The seats are 2,700, but they let in 1,000 people. It's a lot. It's still a lot. So every second seat is
that's Germany for you.
And at the moment, we had only 2 performances. So I can't say how it will be in the end of August. But in the moment, it's such a gift that we can perform with a whole orchestra.
Presumably there's a political will to do that, and which is important. And
so
also
only to say there's a security system. So the artists are in a red group, so we can kiss and hug each other like always. So it's no social distance on stage. We are tested very often. Then the second group, the director, the makeup artist, they are an orange group. They get tested twice during the festival, but they always need to wear the mask. And then the third group, the technicians, not even can come close to us. So it's a system. They thought, I think, a not so bad system to protect us. Yeah.
No, that's wonderful. I think the other consideration, of course, is the music making itself, how orchestras meet and how singers, are part of the not only the stage element of it, but the connection musically and the distance and all that. Of course, as opera singers, we're used to that, being far away from the conductor. But we have to adapt. There's never as great a time lag as there is between a Zoom call and trying to rehearse on Zoom is impossible, of course. But I'm going to introduce now finally Vladimir Jurowski, who was our conductor, musical director, and I'm sure he's going to have some ideas about where we are at the moment too. Maestro Vladimir Jurowski, it's so lovely to see you, and thank you for joining us. And where are you at the moment?
At home in Berlin.
And I suppose we've been celebrating the fact that we're all together. Vladimir, a few people are working.
I have been working between end of May and early July. We did about 5 or 6 programs at the Berlin radio. We were not allowed to have any audience, of course, but we had live broadcasts, and some great soloists were able to join us, such as Daniel Hope and Gideon Kramer. We started with the amount of something 10 to 15 people. We were not allowed to have any more than 15 in the room. But the last concert we gave on the 7th of July, we had 38. So that was already almost like an orchestra. They promised us that there will be also Berlin Musikfest. So the concerts in the Philharmonie have been allowed to go on, of course, in reduced formation. The concerts not being longer than 90 minutes and no more than 60 people on stage. I don't know how many they will let in. Of course, the problem with the corona is that situation is changing every day, and as the numbers go up, they might lock us down. And our cultural senator, who is actually a friend of arts, he is at the same time a very cautious man. So while in other parts of Germany people have been reopening very willingly and soon, Mr. Lederer is the one to wait and say, let's make sure that nothing happens. So
one of the biggest dilemmas that we have, I think, as artists is, the anxiety and the stress of just wondering when. How much do we keep in performance form? David, I'm sure you have plans which, are, there are limits to which you can then say, okay, we seem to be going for it, but presumably, as you say, we just don't know when you get to go ahead.
You just keep going, until theatre counts as a project. You just have to think that you're doing the project. Although as time is going by, more and more stuff is getting cancelled. Into the new year now for me, things are going. All the projects I have in continental European houses at this moment in time, they're proceeding as though these events are going to happen, especially beyond summer of next year. They are absolutely proceeding as though it's going ahead and we're doing this. So I just have to cross my fingers and hope and not despair and just keep going and just keep believing that these projects are going to materialize. My particular problem is so much of my work is in the United States.
Yeah,
so much work to do is there. And when that infrastructure will be able to get going again, and what is actually going to survive because of the way that they're funded, is obviously really scary, you know, and for all my colleagues in America, you know, it's a very scary situation.
I don't want to end on an element of confrontation or downer or anything.
Can I end on a nice joyful note? I found something in the cupboard which I thought I would crack open. It's an 11-year-old vintage bottle, and I'm actually going to drink a little bit of it. Some of you might recognize it. And I'm actually going to try drinking it because I have the opinion that even when you think you've got to your sell-by date, you might still have a use-by date that's still valid. So,
yeah.
Still good. Still good. The signature's a little bit faded, but this might be going onto an internet sales platform tomorrow.
Two of our colleagues, of course, have left us too early, Robert Poulton and Maxim Mikhailov. I promised Philippa, Rob's wife, that I would mention the Robert Poulton Foundation, which is in his honor set up, and it creates a singing opportunities for people that they were associated with in the community. Rob was very attached to his community in Heathfield here in the UK, in Sussex. And it's since it was set up, they've done wonderful, wonderful work in the community, reaching out to where I think into schools, which of course is where I think it's all, where I hope all of us had our beginnings, and that certainly reinforces the idea that we can make kids sing, then they will grow up music lovers. And certainly, you know, who even knows, maybe they're the new crop of singers along the way. Do check it out. It's robertpoultonfoundation.org.uk. Vlad, we didn't talk about the challenges of the orchestra in the particular production in 2011, the biggest orchestra presumably that the pit had ever seen.
Believe it or not, it was not the biggest orchestra. It was most probably the loudest orchestra. But the biggest.
Yeah, I remember.
The biggest was actually Othello a few years earlier. Okay. Othello and Lulu, which happened before my time with Andrew Davis. They had 77 musicians. I think we had something like 73.
Okay.
The thing about Meistersinger, which David and I had often discussed, is that the piece is actually not Wagnerian by its style. It is a mock classical style. It is some kind of an attempt to recreate a German classical style which had never existed. It's some kind of a collision of Weber versus Beethoven, but enriched by all the Wagnerian experience of previous years with the Ring, with the first part of the Ring, and the Tristan. However, having done Tristan in Glyndebourne, I didn't recall such balancing problems as we encountered in the Meistersinger. And I remember one incident during a rehearsal. You all remember the Auftritt der Meister in Act 1, the grand entrance of all the masters. Now, that for me was every time a heart attack moment, because it all started in a solemn piano, but after about 16 bars, I simply did not know what to do to hold this wave of sound. It just kept growing over my head. And after about 25th correction, well, somebody from the music staff ran down to the pit and said, Vladimir, it's still a bit too loud. And I just exclaimed in despair, but I have already reduced my string section to mere nothingness. However, about 2 weeks later, while the performances were already running and I still kept sneaking down to the library to correct the parts, I opened the cello part, and one particular cellist of LPO has written in big letters my quote against that passage in the first act. I have reduced my string section to mere nothingness. So it is there forever. But honestly, I think we didn't do too badly. Having heard many other Meistersinger performances elsewhere, we weren't that loud after all.
No, and I think the acoustic of that house too lends itself to, you know, it amplifies the good sounds and deadens the bad sounds quite well.
But I must say that the LPO is still talking about that Meistersinger being some kind of a revelatory experience for them, which has sort of completely changed the way they view the classical repertoire since they're on. I think we all became better musicians and also better artists in general, having been through that experience. That's my opinion. I certainly count myself in there.
No, absolutely. One of the things, David, I wanted to reminisce about was presumably timings for set changes and everything had to be negotiated between you and Vlad a bit. Was there any encouragement, or did we just make the technicians just change the sets as fast as possible?
No, Vlad was absolutely wonderful when I said, okay, to get into the last scene, the festival scene, I said, please, for some reason, Wagner is capable of writing 8-minute preludes to acts. And for one of the biggest scene changes in any opera, he gives us roughly 2 minutes, 20 seconds to go from that workshop to the meadow, get all the chorus, all the dancers onto the stage. In a mid-scale theatre like Glyndebourne, where we don't have massive wing spaces, we don't have a hydraulic lift, like at the Met, that's what they do. They just think the Sachs workshop and meadow was there. So Vlad was wonderful. Thank you, Vlad. He was amazing about like really it bopped out seconds. But there were, I mean, the stage management at Glyndebourne is still traumatized by that scene change. And I mean, it was like that curtain had to go up on cue. And I remember there was one night the stage crew didn't actually make us off stage, and they actually had to hang around in Spiegel tents. But it's just like, we're just here in the meadow, so yeah, it was
everybody's welcome.
Scary. It was scary sometimes.
No, absolutely. I mean, that I cannot tell you that this has been just a wonderful way to offer thanks and celebration for a moment in many of our careers, which was seminal.
Hi, thanks a lot.
Okay.
Cheerio, everybody.
Bye.